I'm delighted this morning to be joined by the head of technology at The Guardian, Jemima Kiss. Now, Jemima, there can't really be any other industry that's been so impacted by developments of technology as the media world. So it's a very exciting place to be at the heart of it, at The Guardian, a paper that has also committed itself to
not just a paper and a website.
And a website, but a media brand that has committed itself to the digital revolution.
Absolutely.
And so explain a little bit, please, about how Guardian Technology sits within The Guardian and what comes under your umbrella as head of technology there.
Well, primarily I think it's important to say that as The Guardian we are a consumer-facing brand. So from a PR's perspective, we do get brands approaching us with kind of B2B white label services. That's not really the kind of thing we write about. I think our role is in explaining what the massive transitions in the technology industry, what impacts they have on consumers and real people's lives. And that also cuts into every other industry, because technology arguably isn't one industry, it's one part of every other industry. So that's the way that we think about technology.
So there's a huge crossover between yourself and the news desk, the media team, the business team. Do you sit as a hub within The Guardian?
Well, there's too many of us to all sit together all the time, but we work extremely closely. All of the commissioning meetings are cross-commissioned, and it's being The Guardian, it's quite laid back and informal, but there are regular meetings and kind of huddles of people all day talking about things.
And Guardian Technology itself has got its own stream online, and part of the range of services you provide there, you've got podcasts, you've got your tech hub. Explain a little bit about what makes up the Guardian Technology offering.
Well, our content is published occasionally in the newspaper, which is good for kind of explaining the status of a story, the kind of national importance of it, if you like. But primarily we think about our readership online. We have 40 million unique users a month on the whole Guardian website, and technology is a massively important part of that. But people are obviously reading that news on their mobiles, on their tablets, as well as on their desktops.
And The Guardian has also been very forward about expanding itself globally. You've got a big US office, and you've opened up a team. You've got a team in Australia now as well. Is Guardian Technology making the same move?
Well, we're all part of the same team. Interestingly, the teams in New York and Australia, the reporters are structured slightly differently, so they don't have patches. The reporters write about things that they think are really interesting and that they kind of get fired up by. Actually, it's very useful when stories kind of evolve overnight. We now have a very efficient kind of time zone focused way of pushing stories on, and it really helps us stay on top of what's happening.
And what's a good way for a PR to get you fired up about a story?
Well, probably phoning me at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon is not the best way. I personally, again, I think it's probably best to find out what works for individual journalists. I personally don't like the landline just because it's a bit interruptive. Twitter, if you can manage to describe your thing in 140 characters, if you don't know the person you're talking to, is very effective actually. But otherwise, a succinct email, probably with bullet points. You know, we don't need 4 pages of prose, but a good idea speaks for itself, I think.
But you've been following the technology sector for 10 years now, and you've seen how it's impacted your profession as a journalist. Where do you think, how do you think the next 10 years is going to pan out for
it's almost impossible. 10 years in technology is phenomenal. I mean, 10 years ago we didn't even have iPhones, which obviously made smartphones such a massive part of our daily lives. It kind of pushed the sector forward. I'd say in 5 years, I think it's probably pretty likely that we'll have strengthened the products that we offer as a news brand. So if we think about Google Glass, for example, what kind of opportunities does that offer for media brands who are trying to engage with people in a slightly different way? If you think about location and audio and a lot of other very exciting, but we just need to be more creative about how we do it.
Whatever it is, it's going to be exciting. Jemima, thank you very much indeed.
Absolute pleasure.